This one VTuber artist's opinion caused an entire stir on Twitter. I'm curious as to what side you stand on this scenario. The original tweet in question was this tweet by Rip Kremit, who also goes by Ripu. They wrote, "Some of my VTuber children are recoloring their models' PSDs, or Photoshop files, without permission against my TOS in. And I feel kind of ick about it. Don't know if I'll talk to them about it or not. Is it normal to just use the VTube Studio recolor option and edit whatever you want?" So here's what some commenters say. Leah Kitty adds, "It does say explicitly when you click on the VTube Studio recolor feature that you should first ask your artist. I made sure to ask mine so they felt comfortable." Ripu says, "Yeah, unfortunately, none of the kids I have that use it have asked or given a bump about it. But big heart to you for checking in with your VTuber mom." By the way, if you guys don't know anything about VTubers, the term VTuber kid, the VTuber the artist made the art for. So in this case, Ripu would be their VTuber parent because Ripu made their artwork. And the kid is the person who received the artwork. Mochi Huechi adds, "VTube Studio Recolor is temporary. It doesn't edit the actual art mesh or the actual art. It only applies green color. That's not editing. I'm an artist myself and I think it's fair for our live 2D children to have freedom to express themselves." Ripu says, "Totally. I was noted on this in the replies and have learned it's only a filter. However, I do think it's fair to notify your artist on this when using the feature when VTube Studio warns the VTuber on it. It's also in my TOS." Teller, the VTuber, says, "I think I'm missing something. Is it common for the artist to still have input on a commission after it's finished and delivered? I always assumed that after the art is delivered, it can be remixed at will." Ripu says, "Just because I deliver and complete the commission doesn't mean the client gains full rights to the artwork and can use or edit it however they wish. The artwork still is the artist's property, and clients are expected to follow the TOS even after the commission is delivered." Teller follows up with, "I see. I'm not sure if that model is functional in the VTubing space when the art is often the extension of a character the artist doesn't own, or when art is directly representing a stage presence. Merchandising rights being separate from this discussion, of course." Ripu says, "How is a VTuber model that I made the art of no longer my property once I deliver it to the VTuber? I don't understand how a model art and an illustration would be different in that way." Teller says, "I would consider that you never properly owned the model. You were commissioned to create a product and that product is delivered, like a commission table. Now, if someone freely entered into a contract that specified you still own the model, that's their choice." Sky says, "No, especially if the artist designed your model, the copyright is mostly theirs. The entire point of the TOS is to prevent model children from misusing their models and going against TOS." Teller says, "Let me expand the table metaphor. Craftsmen, like artists, use creativity to build a product for the use and enjoyment of the customer. A table maker would never tell me how to use the table I commissioned, even if he designed it completely himself. Why are artists different?" Juniper says, "Well, for one, it's like signing a contract. TOS are rules. You signed it agreeing to follow said rules. You break said rules, you're liable for lawsuits. Just because the model is delivered doesn't mean you can just ignore the TOS." Teller says, "Yes, if you entered the contract, you are held by it. I guess what I'm arguing at this point is that it seems like the artist primarily owns the idea and should not be the baseline." Throwing in my 2 cents again, I sell my artwork on Etsy. Personally, it makes me kind of uncomfortable when people throw filters or recolor my artwork. One, it's a little bit different. The way my TOS is written, I still have ownership over my artwork. Even if you buy it, you can use it for your stream purposes, but I still own the art. But for me, the reason why I don't like people recoloring it is because it looks ugly. I colored it in a certain way so that it looks really cute. Okay, I make my frogs like this green color because I like the green color. And then some people would take it and put weird filters over it, and it makes all the frog this like grossly like solid purple color, whatever. And I'm like, dude, I look at it and I'm like, oh my God, now people are gonna see this and think I made it look ugly like this. I did not do that, okay? I said, please do not recolor my artwork. I have it written because it looks bad. That's literally why I don't like people doing it. Again, this is my opinion, but I just want my artwork when I make it to look pretty the way I made it. Going back to the comments, Wayfinder B writes, "I think this got normalized a lot with the customizable VTuber avatars that have come out. There's a good chance in some of these cases it's a sincere screw up on their part. If it were me, I'd rather have a gentle reminder than an artist upset." Ripu says, "I see that could be the case for sure. I remember the recoloring and other customization VTube Studio plugins coming out a while ago, and I remember seeing more artists being against it. I guess things have changed a bit now with more and more people using it. Prayer emoji." And then here we have Overachi writing, "I personally don't use it and I don't know if it's normal or common, but maybe just poke them and remind them of it. I don't think most people do it maliciously to break TOS." And then Ripu adds the screenshot where you can see in VTube Studio, it says, "Important, many artists do not want their art to be modified and it can be considered rude to do so. If you recolor parts of your model and you didn't draw it yourself, please make sure you have the permission of your artist." Amanda writes, "The VTube Studio recolor recolor method specifically bothers me because it washes out the contrast and values, ends up being a poor representation of our work. Exactly, that's the better way to say it, but TLDR, it looks bad, it looks ugly. And I feel like most artists would be very understanding if you wanted color changes. They just want the art to look pretty the way they intended it to look. Because as artists, we have a vision in our head of how we want it to look like. And most recolor filters blow out all of the colors. Because you change one thing purple, it makes all the other stuff look whack. Ripu writes, yeah, I agree with this as well. It honestly also rubs me the wrong way because most of my clients know that I'd love to do a free rework or recolor if they ever needed this. I've done Photoshop recolors of models many times for free for previous VTuber kids. And I think that's the best scenario, right? Ripu has that sentiment where they're like, I am completely down if you want recolors. I will do it for you for free, which is so generous. It has a lot more time for them to rework the colors. It's not as simple as throwing on one color filter. A lot of times you need to tweak a lot of layers to make everything blend well because filters tend to blow out all the colors. And Ripu's willing to do it for free. All they wanted was just a heads up like, hey, can you do it? I really want this. And then Ripu would be like, yep, let me just do it for you so that it can look the way I intended to look and you can get the color that you want. Best of both worlds. But there's a lot of people in the opposing opinion as well. We have Rosie Belmu stating, larger VTubers do this for things like Valentine's Day pretty regularly. To each their own, but I wouldn't think to check for something like that since it's universally not problematic. I wouldn't want to work with somebody with stricter rules than the norm. This is just my opinion. We have Candy Cat writing, in my opinion, it's kind of controlling for artists to be watching their commissions this intently. If it's provided by the program and is temporary, it shouldn't matter. It's like adding on any arm toggle, etc. that wasn't in the original commission. They have color shaders for reasons. My artist doesn't watch me like a hawk. They let me have creative freedom and I'm grateful. We have Alexia writing, hate to break it to you, but this is a very important thing that people don't realize. But when they select getting the commercial rights, that means you are selling them the copyright to the art. You aren't retaining the rights to it, so it really means that you no longer have any say over what is done with it. Otherwise, you would be giving them commercial licenses and retaining royalties from the sales. But that's not what's happening, right? I don't think you were expecting or intending to receive royalties from them, which means that it was a full transfer of ownership. Malcolm adds, generally speaking, even if they sell commercial rights, the copyright remains with the artist. You have to specifically seek out the copyright to get ownership of that, just on a purely legal term. Copyright is much more expensive generally than commercial rights. Alexia adds, this would be incorrect. Because of one word here, rights, you can sell commercial licenses and you would retain the rights. But by saying you're selling the commercial rights, you're saying you're selling the whole cloth. You aren't retaining anything. And the follow-up post made by the artist here with the Discord screenshot clearly states the artist does not own the model. They have sold the rights to the client. I think this one gets really tricky. Look, man, I am not a lawyer, so I can only throw in as much as my 2 cents allows. The ownership of the product and the right to sell it, use its likeness to make money is 2 separate things from my understanding of how this legally breaks down. How the terminology falls, I'm not as familiar, right? Because again, I am not a lawyer and these terms do matter in the legal space here. But from my understanding, commercial means you are allowing somebody to go and use it to make money. The world that I know this is through sponsorships. I do creator education. I teach you how to make money as a content creator and how to get sponsorships. In the world of sponsorships, it's 2 different things, okay? I will give companies like commercial rights to my footage. I will allow them to use it in ads and to make money from it. It is my video. It still has my likeness, but I retain ownership of the video still. If a company wants to buy the ownership off of me, it is extremely expensive. It is doable though. I have sold it in the past. I have sold ownership of my videos. It is no longer mine. The company will own the video. They can do whatever the hell they want with it. They can cut up the video and paste a mustache on me and then, run an AI filter. Please don't do that though. And make me say some random jargon. And they can if they wanted to because they own the video. Now, will I be upset about that? Yeah, but that's different. That's different than having commercial usage to make money off of the piece. It is 2 separate things in the sponsorship world. From my understanding of the art world, commercial rights, commercial usage, and 2 different things as well. Copyright means you own it and you can then lend out the likeness for people to make money. Very tricky scenario here. Again, I'm not a lawyer. Pandaku says they may have assumed it was okay because most VTube artists okay it. I haven't done it, but it's so normalized. I would have assumed since it isn't permanent. Personally, it shouldn't be an issue just because you'll be closing yourself off from a lot of work, in my opinion, at least. Here's my 2 cents at least, right? My thoughts is, I think the VTuber children were very probably innocently thinking, I'm gonna make it a cute color just temporarily for my birthday. I don't know, right? I don't think the VTuber children had malicious intent. So I definitely think Ripu should have given benefit of the doubt to the children for that scenario. Sounds like they did. But I do think on the flip side, look, if you make the statement, oh, you assumed it was okay because most VTuber artists okay it, I can see where you're coming from. And this is no shade to the commenter whatsoever, by the way, right? I can see how people would think, oh, it is okay because like it's so normalized, But I do think in the scenario where it does come with tweaking somebody else's artwork, to play it safe, it would be safer to ask for permission. But again, I don't think any of the VTuber children were malicious being like, I'm gonna do do it behind Ripu's back, you know? I don't think it was like that. But I can completely understand how it might be just a little bit uncomfortable to see your artwork get changed in a way to make it look not as pretty, you know, because those filters do blow out the colors real bad. But Ripu then added a bunch of follow-ups. Ripu added, seeing the responses on this post has shown me that using it for toggles is more common than I thought. I'll let it go for now with previous VTuber kids, but in the future, a heads up that you're planning to add a toggle like this would be super appreciated. And I think that's the biggest thing at the end of the day. And personally, don't really get why people are mad at Ripu. Personally, right? It doesn't sound to me like Ripu is some ungrateful artist that wants to like stalk all of their VTuber kids. It really to me sounds like, to me, and I might have misread this, but to me it sounds like all Ripu wanted was a heads up. If the VTuber children was like, hey, you know, I was thinking I wanted, you know, my birthday's coming up and I really love the color pink. My outfit is blue. I wanted just to toggle it pink just for my birthday. Would you be down for that? Like, it sounded like all they wanted was a heads up. And I don't think it's bad to expect that, you know what I mean? It basically would show respect towards the artist and be like, hey, I respect you. I just want to make sure I ask permission before I do this. That's at least me. And I really agree with what Flarealice says, or Floralis. I'm so sorry, your name is hard to read. I'm not good at pronouncing things. I get wanting to be aware of what is happening with technically your artwork regardless if it's paid or not. Plus, it's overall a good idea to let model mamas like you know what, for example, I like to do for any possible recolor just to make sure it's actually possible. Yeah, I just think it's a common courtesy thing. Now, I think like what would make Ripu the a-hole, potentially, you know, if you like Reddit, am I the a-hole, is maybe if somebody reached out to them, Ripu ghosted them, then they used the recolor and then Ripu got mad, then maybe you can argue. But I don't think that was the case here. People are just doing it behind Ripu's back, right? It is maybe a common thing in the VTuber world to do, but I think all Ripu wanted was a heads up. They would have been okay. Or also, if they asked, Ripu sounds like they were more than willing to do the recolor for free, which they definitely didn't have to do. It's very generous. So Ripu sounded more than understanding to me. So Ripu adds, I'll probably be muting the post in a bit. All the responses stresses my tiny brain out, so apologies if I no longer reply. For any genuine questions or concerns, please DM and I will all respond within 12 hours. Last update on the matter before I'm gone, I hope to do better in the future with voicing my concerns or opinions. The Studio Hoshimi adds, many of our VTuber clients and children may have seen Ripu's recent tweets. Since Ripu shared her opinion before fully understanding how the VTube Studio recoloring features work, some clients might have gotten upset by the message. To clarify Ripu's statement, Ripu allows her clients to use the recoloring feature as long as they give a heads up or ask for permission for any significant edits. Ripu is always happy to provide recoloring for clients at no additional charge, ensuring the colors remain vibrant and consistent with the model style. VTuber children own their models and a commercial fee is included. This means the models can be used for streaming banners, promotional material, and more. Ripu does not own your design and never has owned your design. We sincerely apologize if the tweet upset or worried any of our clients. We are taking all the feedback in the replies to improve and become a more professional studio. Ripu will be taking a break from Twitter for a few weeks to fully solely on commission work and step back from social media to reduce stress caused by the tweet. To be as transparent as possible, Ripu would always keep the tweet up instead of removing and hiding it. I mean, to me, it just sounds like, again, like what they said, Ripu misunderstood what the recolor feature was. Once they found out it was a filter and not actually changing the artwork, they were more okay with it, but still wanted a heads up just to know, you know? We have other people tweeting their opinions as well. Hamchiro writes, am I the only V artist who doesn't care what their VTuber kids do with their model once they pay for it? Like, if you're paying me $800 for something, in my opinion, that art is yours and you can edit it however you want. I don't think I still own their models or art either. It's silly. Livik Kamrak writing, I've never personally understood any TOS that basically says, hey, here's your commission. You can't modify this art of you that you paid for with your money in any way, even though it's your character. You paid for it. It's yours now. I drew your live 2D. Hachi says, yeah, that's what I say. Commercial rights are included in every art I make because honestly, I don't really care too much about that kind of stuff. I care if people disrespect my art or me, but doing your own thing with the product you paid for, care less, do whatever you want. I think it's just different house, different opinion, right? Like some artists maybe don't care. They make art for you, and if you bought it from them, you can do whatever you want with the artwork. They'll be okay with it. For me, and I do commissions too, I am typically not okay with people modifying the artwork simply because I had a vision for the artwork. Most of the time, from my experience doing commissions, I'm not trying to be shady, but it's from my experience, the modification that person does on the artwork makes it look a lot worse. And then I'm like, man, it's my art, so I will want credit for the artwork, but then you made it look worse, so people are gonna think that I did that, and I did not do that. I did not make that frog purple, okay? You did that. I just had a vision for it, and I wanted to look a specific way, and if you wanted some changes, just let me know. I will work with you. Like, we can make it look the way you want it to look, while I can still have the creativity to make it look aesthetically appealing in the way I intended the piece to look. That's just my personal opinion again, but let me know in the comment section below how you feel about it. Are you an artist who allows full commercial usage of your art, or are you somebody is on more like me and who, you know, if you do make some modifications, just let me know. Normally I don't really care, but if your modification is going to make it look bad, then please let me know and I will try to make it look good for you, okay? Please, for the love of God. What are your thoughts on the whole situation with Ripu? Again, there's two sides of the coin. Some people think Ripu was just being really mean and being extremely ungrateful. These are all tweets that I'm reading, but to me, it really sounded like they misunderstood the program once they figured out how it worked. All they wanted was a heads up, and they were more than willing to work with the VTuber children if they did want a recolor that might be more complex to make it look pretty so that it could just look like the vision. If you like this video, I appreciate it. If you like and subscribe, we finally hit 75K on YouTube. So thank you guys so much for that. We're almost at 100K. YouTube play button. I don't know. Should I do something cool for 100K? Let me know. And I do stream on Twitch 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Saturdays at 6 p.m. PST. Hope to catch you guys there or in another one of my videos.